Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner today. Something unique about my guest is he coaches middle school football. To recharge, he likes wake surfing, and he's most proud of his boys. It's my pleasure to welcome Josh to the show today. Hi, Josh.
Hey Tim, how are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking. Well, I'm excited to hear your story today. So let's start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit of your personal story and how the business came about.
Yeah, Josh Millard. I was actually born in southern Wisconsin, moved to northeast Indiana. Oh, when I was a young child, my mother was relocated with General Motors, and so I've been in Indiana here in the Fort Wayne area pretty much my whole life after a young childhood in Wisconsin. Married to my wife Natalie of 21 years. We have two teenage boys. My oldest is about to be 20 here in about a month, so that's a little new. Learning how to raise adult children is a whole new ball game for us. So we're trying to work through that. He is a junior at Taylor University studying finance, so we're proud of him working on that. My younger son is 17 and a junior in high school, and he's a football player. So the coaching football allows me to be at the field when he's playing and whatnot. Because our school, I coach middle school football, but our program, the coaches are kind of all on one staff, so that allows me to
Hmm,
be there for the high school activities and
yeah,
whatnot. So that's pretty awesome from my end.
very cool. Yeah. And how'd the business come about?
Yeah, the business came about is my first degree in career was in actually tool and die and machine repair. So I had a journeyman's card, did a full apprenticeship, did that for 10 years, and I was freshly married, had one son and another one on the way, and I was working. It was a 24-hour emergency service company. So, like if a factory were to have a breakdown, it didn't really matter what you were doing in life. You had to go fix their machine.
Yeah.
Which, as a single man, or even a married with no kids, that wasn't terrible. But once you start having some kids, that can kind of get a little bit crazy.
Hmm.
So I was looking for other opportunities. I had kind of dabbled with just starting my own machine repair company where I maybe wouldn't have to work so many hours to make the same amount of income as I was working before. And then I ran into my former business partner now, and him and I were good friends. And he was in the financial services industry,
Mhm.
and he was like, you're really good with people, and you're really good with math and problem solving and so on and so forth. I think you would be good at in the financial services industry. So I kind of shadowed him for a couple of days and saw what he did and thought, man, that could be a good fit for me. So back to school I went, and and decided to get in the financial services community, and that was in 2007, which
Oh no.
it wasn't the most ideal year to become a financial planner,
Yeah.
but but character building years
You're
there.
right. Yes. That's awesome. So, starting a business requires a bit of a leap of faith. So, tell me what gave you the confidence that you could be a business owner?
I started out as just a financial planner for a different firm, which was also a big leap of faith, because you go to work, you get a paycheck,
Mm,
to you might go to work for 2 weeks and not get a paycheck.
yeah. Yeah.
So when you go straight on commission based sales, that's quite a leap of faith. And the big thing I think that really allowed me to do it was the support of my wife.
Mm,
Because obviously anybody who started a business or went into commission based sales knows that in the beginning it's very stressful,
Yeah.
and you run out of money before you run out of months a lot. Um, and she did a really great job of supporting me and helping me, through that. And she kind of sheltered me from the times that we were a little bit broke. And I think she kind of kept that a secret so I could focus on being successful.
Bless her
So
heart, right?
yeah, huge blessing there because sometimes you're broke, but you don't. If you're not the one paying the bills, you don't really know how broke.
Right. So
um,
that's awesome.
um, so yeah, so she was a huge support in that, and and then my former boss in machine repair, he did a really good job even when I was in that industry of really helping me understand business.
Mhm.
And you know and one thing he really taught me was you can't be successful if you're afraid of failing.
Mm.
You have to be you have to be willing to just trudge forward, and what I call fail forward, right?
Yes.
you know
Yes.
if you fail, learn something from it and move forward instead of dwelling on it and being stuck in the past.
Yes.
um, so that was a huge advantage. He was really monumental in my beginning stages of understanding business.
Fantastic. So just tell us more about the company. Tell us the name again. What do you guys do? How do you help people?
Yeah, it's Millard Financial Group. What we do is we do full service financial planning. What we really specialize in is in helping people transition from working to retired,
Hmm.
and help them through retirement as well. So a big thing we do is full service retirement plans that kind of encompass all the things as far as we start with Social Security and figure out what's the best way to take Social Security and Medicare and those sorts of things, but then also develop an income plan and an investment plan
Hmm.
and just help them navigate the cash flows throughout
Sure.
the retirement journey, and also the complexities of investment management, and how your money should be growing, and what's an okay rate to spend the money.
Hmm.
So help people live a really valued life in retirement.
Yeah.
But in also ensuring that they're not doing it in such a manner that they potentially could run out of money.
Sure. Yeah. No, big, super important that we live well beyond our retirement age, ideally, hopefully, right?
Right. Yeah.
And definitely don't want to be running out of funds. So it's a
Yeah.
very important part of overall life planning. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Josh, we know that successful businesses can get stuck at various stages of their growth journey. So tell us about your biggest challenge and how you worked through it.
Yeah, I think recently my biggest challenge was a few years ago. I had a business partner, and we worked together for 10 or so years,
Mhm.
and then it was just time for us to kind of work independently.
Yeah.
And so then for the first year after that, it was just kind of me and my wife, and we really had to evaluate what we wanted out of the business.
Mm,
We needed to evaluate if because at that point, the business was big enough for just the two of us. We could live comfortably and we could have what people would like to call a lifestyle practice.
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Um, and so we just sat down and said, okay, what do we want to get out of this? What are our goals? And decide if we wanted to keep kind of pushing forward and grow the business, or if we were happy with where we were at.
Yeah.
And one of the compelling factors of that is, both of our boys have decided that finance is where they want to go.
Ah,
So then we're like, well, if we're going to do that, then we might as well push forward.
yeah.
And then from there, the biggest hurdle that we had was figuring out scaling,
Hmm.
who to hire, when to hire, how to hire. what you need, and really understanding capacity.
Yeah.
Because when you're really a sole practitioner at any point, there comes a point where you run out of hours in the day.
Yes.
You can only get so efficient, right? You just keep working on efficiencies and working more hours and working more hours, and all of a sudden you have to come to grips with the fact that you're at capacity.
Yeah.
And so when you're at capacity like that, you've got some choices. Choice number one is you hire somebody. Choice number two is you fire some less profitable clients
Hmm.
so that you can hire more profitable
Yeah.
clients. you know and we just got to a point where I was not okay with firing clients because they're people that I love and have a relationship with, and
Sure.
just because they're not as profitable as somebody else, I wasn't comfortable with throwing them to the curb
Yeah.
just because I wanted to grow my business.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that's just that's a choice. Some different people do it different ways, but that's where I landed. Was I was not willing to get rid of somebody that needed my help just simply because I wanted to bring on somebody that was going to be more profitable.
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense. Yeah. That's a great philosophy. Yeah. That
um
that transition from uh, you know, the owner being involved in all of the day-to-day activities to scaling it's a pretty significant shift, right? Because you gotta learn to let go and trust and build processes and systems and right and get the right team members in place and it takes a lot of effort to navigate through that, right?
it definitely does. And you think about it, I think a lot of business owners become business owners because, especially small business owners, become small business owners because they're probably prone to be a little bit of a control freak.
Yeah. Yep.
And then when you got to
Right.
scale, you got to learn to let that go,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
right? And I remember we had an intern one time, and I was explaining to him something before we had good systems.
Hmm.
I was explaining to him something, and he says, "Well, how would I know that?"
Yes.
And I was just like, "Well, I know it."
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, that's not going to work anymore,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yep.
so then I'm like, okay, at that point, you think you have systems. And it turns out the system was, what does Josh know?
Yep.
And then that has to transition to, how does everybody know that, so that there's not a line at my door every day
Yes,
asking
correct.
me what to do
Yeah.
here? Because if that's the case, I might as well do it myself.
Yep. Yep. Which is a very common challenge that I hear from business owners is, it's easier just to do it myself. But the reason is what you just said, right? If everything is in our head, right? And nobody has a process or a step-by-step document to follow, then yeah, it is easier for the owner to do it themselves. But
Right.
once you've taken the time to write those steps out, then it becomes significantly easier for somebody else to do it. Right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And in the beginning, it is way easier to do it yourself. It's so much easier to do it yourself than train somebody to do it. But
Yep.
after you train them to do it, you don't have to do it yourself anymore.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, and now that's the next step you work with your staff is, okay, they get their basket of projects, and that becomes their baby.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, but now you've got to hand that off to you got to hand
Yeah.
that off to the next person.
Yep.
And yes, again, it is easier to do it yourself, but not forever. It's easier to do it yourself once,
Yes. Yes.
but 10 times it's easier to train somebody to do it.
Yep. The one exercise we have our clients do to help with that aha is, all right, how much are you worth to the organization? And to just use, fake numbers, $100 an hour, great. And all those tasks that are easier for you to do yourself, how much are they worth to the company? Oh, $25 an hour. So, you could have a staff member take 3 times longer to do it and you're still more profitable. And
Right.
usually that's the aha moment where folks like, okay, I get it. Yep. Now I am going to work on delegating and training and setting the team up for success.
And then one of my new favorite sayings, and I heard it at a conference not long ago, was done is better than perfect.
Yep. Yes.
And so, and that's something I remind the staff of all the time too, is
Yeah.
yeah, could it get, would have been better if I did it myself? Maybe. Would have been faster? Maybe. But just like you said, would it have been 3 times faster? Probably not.
Yep. I think that the stat is something like only about 9% of businesses ever get it to $1 million in revenue, and less than 1% ever make it to five. And the reason is that the scaling thing that you're talking about, right? To get to 1 million takes the owner hustle and grind, right? Figuring things out, and right, trial and error, and working hard and long, and right, and getting stuff to work. But then scaling, right? Getting to 5 million is all about scaling. It's all about the stuff you're saying, right? Processes and procedures and documentation and how to, and training and accountability, and all of that stuff is a significantly different skill set and knowledge base than right, the hustle and grind that got to the first million.
Right.
So that leads me to my next question here, Josh, is, building a successful business has a lot to do with continuous learning. So what's been your biggest learning throughout the years?
I go to a handful of conferences throughout the year for different topics, whether it's leadership or the financial side of things.
Mhm.
I like to go to conferences. Those really kind of get me excited about work again.
Yeah.
Just being around like-minded people
Yeah.
and stuff of that nature. So I do that. And then one of the planning groups I'm in, we have Monday morning meetings, virtual meetings with a group of people that are doing some similar things.
Okay. Yeah.
Talk through best practices and that stuff. So we share a lot of ideas through a group like that.
Yeah.
And then I've used some services in the past, like one of my vendors offers a practice management kind of coaching
Okay.
deal where they'll walk through your numbers
Sure.
and kind of tell you, give you, kind of where you fall against the most uh, successful practices in the nation,
Yeah.
and kind of let you understand, help walk you. Big thing they do is walk you through your metrics
Hmm.
and revenue per employee and capacity, and how many households one employee can actually service,
Yeah.
and different things like that, help you understand capacity and scaling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. The, there's so many resources out there that we have the ability to tap into, and sometimes it's easy to justify that we don't have the time to do it. But like you said, everybody I've talked to always comes back from a conference as an example, with a few nuggets and inspiration and motivation to keep going, pushing the peanut forward, and right, implementing some best practices into the business.
yeah. And I think also having a staff just kind of continuously reminds you that you got to keep growing, because they want raises, and they want new buildings and all the things. So
Yes.
it helps keep you hungry when you got to keep your staff busy, and you got their families relying on the success of the business. Is
Yeah.
not only It's not just my family relying on the success of the business anymore. It's
Right.
the whole staff relying on the
Yes.
success of the business.
Yes. Success also has a lot to do with our mindset, Josh. So what's been your biggest mindset shift that you've had to work through?
Mindset shift. Um, Man, with that, I think it's the biggest mindset shift for me is that my employees are not me.
Mm.
And if they were me, they wouldn't be my employees. They would be out starting their own business.
Yeah.
which is a good thing for me because I don't want them to go out and start their own business. I want them to be happy and successful here,
Yes.
right? And so it's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship where I'm happy and successful, they're happy and successful,
Yes.
but
Yes.
their success is different than my success because we don't, I have to understand what happiness and success looks like to them and then help them achieve that,
Yeah.
which then helps me achieve my level of happiness and
Absolutely.
success.
Yes. Yeah. I love, I hear a lot from folks, well, but my employees don't care about the business as much as I do. And I'm like, yeah, you don't want them to, because then they'll quit and start their own job, their own business, right? Like you
Right?
want them to love
Absolutely.
being an employee, right? And love being part of your organization and right, love coming between the hours that they're scheduled to work, but they
Right.
don't take it home with them because if
Yeah.
they, right? Because then they'll become a business owner and your competitor.
Right. Yeah. And then and some people are built to be owners and some people are built to be employees, and we can't all be employees because then there'd be no businesses to work
Yeah,
at, and we can't
right.
all be owners because then there'd be no employees to run them.
Yeah.
Um so so you gotta leverage people's desires
Yes.
and to help them achieve their goals, which ultimately helps you achieve your
Absolutely.
goal.
Yeah.
And you just have to remember that yes, they don't love the business the way I do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And they don't, but they do love something
Yeah.
like I love the business.
Yep.
And that needs to be their motivation. What do you love? Do you love more family time? Do you love more vacations? Do you love more PTO? What is it do you love, and how do we leverage that to make you happy here,
Absolutely. Yes.
right?
So, Josh, as you think about the next year, what's your biggest priority that you still need to sort out?
We have a huge opportunity in one of our marketing strategies that we've actually the marketing has outgrown our capacity to run it,
Okay.
which is a awesome problem.
Yeah.
Most people
Yeah.
in this industry don't have that problem.
Right.
Um, so we're trying to devise. It'll probably be a two-part approach that we're working on into the new year. I'm probably going to be bringing on another advisor to run those leads,
Okay.
and then I'm also developing a system through that group that I was talking about before, where we can provide those other advisors leads from our
Uh,
lead generation system
yeah.
for some compensation.
Fantastic.
So it'll be a two-part approach, which the doing it hiring somebody will probably be longer term better, but I would have to hire the as fast as that's grown, I would have to hire too many advisors that I can't train.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, but we can't let the leads die either.
Right. Yeah.
So if I outsource some of it, we can kind of maximize our opportunity.
Yeah. What an awesome problem to have, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Congratulations.
I spent the majority of my career stressing about if I'll have enough people to see. Now we're at a point where how are we going to see all these people?
Wonderful.
So,
Congrats. Yeah.
which is a great problem. It's the best problem in our industry, probably in any industry to have. It's the
Yes.
best problem to have, but
Yes.
nevertheless, it's a problem that has to be worked through.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the only way that a business survives is by having more leads and more customers. So yes, great problem to have in terms of figuring out how to service them all. So yeah, way to
Yeah.
go. That's awesome. We know self-made is a myth. So who are the three people that helped you the most with your business success and how did they help you?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already talked about my wife.
Yeah.
Without her, I would definitely not be anywhere near as successful as we've been. Um, so then, and I kind of alluded to the owner of the machine repair company.
Yeah.
He was just watching him run a business and understand, profit and expense, and managing people. And sometimes you learn from people what to do, and sometimes you learn from people what not to do. And so there's that from him. Was really early in my career, just because I come from a long line of employees.
Uh-huh.
My and even my father was very concerned that I was leaving a really good job.
Yeah.
He didn't understand the fact that he didn't understand the difference between trading time for money and trading ability for money.
Mm,
um
mm,
and so it took him a long time to understand that me leaving an hourly job was going to be a good thing.
yeah. Right.
um so and then my former business partner was monumental in my development. He's the one that recruited me into this industry.
Mm,
He trained me, and then him and I eventually left that firm
mm,
and started our own firm together, which we ran for 10 years.
yeah.
And him and I learned a lot about business kind of together, because we both were new to owning a business.
Hmm.
uh, but he was definitely more seasoned in this industry, and was huge in training and kind of developing me to understand the financial planning and building a practice and
Sure. Yeah.
servicing clients and all that sort of thing. And then the third guy would be uh, my insurance marketer, John McDermott. Him and I talk probably daily, just about business and running practices.
Hmm.
And now it's become more of a not even so much a mentor. In the beginning, he was definitely a huge mentor to me, and now it's more become a peer mentoring, where
Uh-huh.
we mentor back and forth.
Yeah.
uh, and I've become now a mentor to his other advisors, and helping them grow their practices and develop systems and whatnot. Because it's you know that's probably the hardest thing, like you talked about, is learning to develop systems and
Mhm.
processes.
Yeah.
That's a really and I when I did it, when I decided to start doing it, and it was gradual. And I remember it being hard, but now that I've kind of am transitioning to help other people do it,
Mhm.
it seems as though it was harder than I remembered it being.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like anything that we're doing for the first time. Right? I use the example of, when we learned to ride a bicycle, right? It looked very easy when we see other people doing it. And at least for me, when I first started to try to figure it out, it was impossible. And then right over time, everything sort of clicked together. And now I don't even think about it. I haven't been on a bike probably in a couple of years, and then I get on one and it just works. And so same with systems, right? It's like the first few are like, oh my goodness, this is so painful. It's such a struggle. Where do I start? How do I do this? And fortunately, there's some good tools that make it easier now. One of my favorite is it's called Loom, right? And it's a software that records your screen, and you can speak into it as well. So you can literally do the exercise yourself, and the recording, you can tell the recording, okay, so step one is click here, right, and fill out this box. Step two is this, and right, and so yeah, the technology makes it super simple now to create processes.
Okay. Is Loom kind of like a Trainual? Is that this very similar?
It's more just a recording of your screen. So,
Okay.
so if yeah, that's the premise of it, is you can record and speak into something,
Yeah.
an exercise that you're doing on your computer, and then
Okay.
it'll store it up on the cloud so that there's different packages that you can pay for, that your employees can access it and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
So, what advice, Josh, would you have for business owners who are feeling stuck, and they're trying to figure it out on their own?
Well, don't try to figure it out on your own because somebody has done it before.
Mm,
And it kind of your analogy of riding a bike kind of made me think of this because a lot has changed in riding bikes. So my kids used to race BMX,
okay.
right? On the national circuit, they spend a lot of time. And one of the worst things you can do to learn to ride a bike is training wheels.
Mm,
Training, because the hardest part of riding a bike is the balance.
sure. Yeah.
Like you can get on a stationary bike and everybody can ride a stationary bike because there's no balance. You climb on, you push the pedals and it just works,
Yeah.
right? But training wheels gives you a false sense of security that you don't
Mm,
have to learn to balance. You just bounce from one wheel to the other,
sure.
right? And so you essentially train yourself to do it wrong.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
big technology in riding bikes has changed from pedal bikes with training wheels to now, if you want a kid to ride a bike early, you get them what's called a balance bike. And
Okay.
a balance bike is a bike with no pedals.
Ah,
There's no, and so it's just two wheels and a seat and a handlebar. So it's like if you took a bike and you took the pedals off of it, that's
yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
And the kids really use that to push with their feet, and they'll walk it for a while, and then they'll push and they'll go maybe a foot, and then
Yeah.
they'll push and go 3 feet, and then all of a sudden they're really good at balancing.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
then you can put them right on a bike, and they'll ride a bike immediately.
So cool. Wow.
So
Yeah.
my younger son actually was racing BMX before he was 4 years old
Wow.
on a track with hills and jumps and everything
Yeah.
because he never rode with training wheels.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And the same thing can be with processes. If you're trying to figure it out all by yourself, you might be figuring it out wrong and you could actually
Mm.
set yourself back
Oh, wow.
further
Yeah. Yeah.
and make it harder to learn how to do it right, kind of like a bike with training wheels
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
right.
Great analogy. Yeah.
Right. And so that made me, when you brought up the bike thing, it made me think of that. But yeah, I mean, because, you know, it's so much easier for me to, like one of my new advisor, right? He's already at a point 2 years into his career
Mm.
that took me 10,
Wow.
right? And it's
Yeah.
because he didn't have to figure it out.
Yeah. Fair. Uh-huh.
He didn't have to figure it out. He just had
Yep.
to follow the blueprint.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
don't do it alone. Don't figure it out on your own. Find somebody who's done it and learn from their mistakes and learn from their
Yeah.
successes.
Awesome. Love it. Great advice. So, Josh, last thing here. It sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible folks who have helped you along your journey. If they were all here today, what would you want to say to them?
Oh, I would want to thank them. I'm kind of an emotional person. My wife makes fun of me because when anything emotional comes up, I tend to tear up. But yeah, I mean the people, and honestly, it was hard for me to only pick three, and I kind of snuck four in there on you. It was hard for me to only pick three. It wasn't. It was just like, okay, what's the three that I want to talk about?
Yeah.
Just because you know there's so many people in your life that are monumental to where you've been. And if you think you've gotten there alone, you need to reevaluate
Mm.
wherever it is
Yeah.
in life. If you think you've gotten there alone, you really need to reevaluate
Mm.
because none of us have gotten anywhere alone.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would sincerely thank those people because it's been just monumental what they've all done in my life to help me to get where I'm at, both you know spiritually, emotionally, financially. Um, it's been really awesome, and I'm beyond blessed. So I just thank them from the bottom of my heart. So
Awesome. Josh, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks for being on the show.
yeah, thanks for having us.
For everyone listening, if any of the topics we discussed today are things that you're navigating through, you don't have to do it alone. As Josh mentioned, we offer a 2-week training and coaching trial to get an outside perspective and guidance in your business. So check out the link in the description. And again, just remember, you don't have to go through this journey on your own. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.